I'm 100% hooked now. There's no going back. They make me feel young again. Imagine hearing that exact level of sheer, unadulterated enthusiasm. That is the sound of someone who just stumbled onto a little magic spark, right? Something totally unexpected that completely revitalized their daily routine. It's honestly a fantastic reminder that discovery, well, it doesn't just stop because you've hit a certain age or achieved a specific milestone.
Welcome to today's Explainer, Midnight Generation and the Real Reward of Financial Independence. Today, we're breaking down a really fascinating and deeply personal post from Jerry Bourne. You might know him online as the Millionaire Educator.
Okay, so to really get this, we have to set the scene. San Cristobal de las Casas, Mexico. Jerry is a 62-year-old American who managed to achieve quasi-early retirement through some really careful financial planning, and he's currently living out his post-career life down in Mexico. And that context? It's literally everything. Because he has financial independence, he finally has two of the most precious commodities out there: time and freedom. He's not rushing through some awful, stressful commute. He actually has the mental bandwidth to just exist, explore his surroundings, and crucially for our story today, listen to new music. Which actually brings us to a phrase Gary coined that I am absolutely obsessed with: eternal crunkage. It's this incredibly fun, totally unexpected philosophy coming from a financial educator of all people. Eternal crunkage isn't about compound interest. It's all about Gary's philosophy of enjoying the journey. It's staying active, keeping your mind completely open to discovering new things, and making sure you are actively celebrating the good times, no matter your age. It perfectly sets this upbeat, unstuffy vibe for everything we're about to look at. So let's jump right into the first part of this, the inciting incident, discovering the groove. For Jerry, this revelation happened on what started as a completely normal day. Picture this: he's just working out at his local gym, minding his own business, Spotify earbuds securely in, and then the algorithm does its magic. It serves up a song called Young Girl as a recommendation. Jerry notes that from the very first notes, he was instantly grabbed by the groove. Literally, he was so completely hooked that he spent the rest of his workout furiously searching for the rest of their catalog, just asking himself, where has this band been all my life? Now, what's really interesting to look at here is the stark contrast between the listener and the artist. On one side, we've got the fan, Jerry, a 62-year-old American retired in Mexico. On the other side, the band, Midnight Generation, a young, vibrant Mexican techno-funk group. On paper, Jerry is absolutely not their target demographic, but this just perfectly proves that a truly undeniable groove completely transcends age, borders, and those typical marketing demographics. And let me tell you, his fandom escalated fast. Jerry admits it's actually gotten a little weird how much he talks about this band to his friends. He says, "I feel like I've turned into a modern-day Bill Walton, raving about the Grateful Dead." I mean, if you know anything about the late great basketball legend Bill Walton, you know he was the ultimate unabashed Grateful Dead superfan. It's just a fantastic analogy that instantly shows you the sheer level of joy and unfiltered enthusiasm Jerry is experiencing here. Okay, so what exactly turned a retired financial blogger into a modern-day Bill Walton? Let's break it down in Anatomy of the Groove. 7 reasons Midnight Generation is special. Let's really unpack the exact musical ingredients making this band sound so incredibly irresistible. First off, you've got these sharp, rhythmic guitars, specifically a very chic-style groove brought by lead vocalist Fernando Marjas. Then, you layer in these retro-futuristic keyboards and synthesizers. It's kind of like 70s disco and 80s new wave got this fresh, modern upgrade. Add smooth, expressive vocals and a signature funky talkbox sound, and you are really cooking. Underneath all that are thick, infectious bass lines and groovy drums. The whole thing is polished, but it never ever loses that raw, danceable energy. But out of all those musical elements, Jerry highlights a very specific intangible quality as the 7th ingredient, what he calls their Mexican/border soul. See, Midnight Generation hails from Chihuahua, up in northern Mexico, so they aren't just doing a clinical imitation of American funk and disco. They're actually blending those classic genres seamlessly with their own northern Mexican identity. It creates this slight Latin flavor in the syncopation, a distinct cultural warmth that infuses their retro sound and just makes the whole thing feel so alive and authentic. And guess what? That vibrant energy doesn't just live in his earbuds. Jerry actually went to see them play live in León this past February. He notes that their incredibly polished studio sound absolutely explodes when they hit the stage. In fact, he explicitly calls it, quote, "my favorite concert ever." Just think about that for a second. At 62 years old, after a lifetime of attending shows, A newly discovered Mexican techno-funk band takes the #1 spot. If that isn't the power of staying open to new experiences, I don't know what is.
So if you're curious about diving into their catalog yourself, Jerry actually gave us a roadmap. Let's check out the Essential Playlist, Soundtracks for Every Mood.
This really illustrates how deeply their music has woven into his daily routine. Young Girl is obviously the gateway drug, the one that got him hooked. But then it branches out. Tracks like It Don't Matter and Impala 1985, those are his daily morning jams, giving him great energy to start the day. You Knock Me Off My Feet holds a special place because it always reminds him of his beautiful wife. And when he's looking for something a bit heavier, he turns to Trouble for its next-level epic deep grooves. This band has literally become the soundtrack to his life down in Mexico, whether he's working out, road tripping, or just reflective.
Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture with our final section, the millionaire's takeaway, beyond the spreadsheets.
It really all boils down to this powerful contrast. On one hand, you have your typical view of financial goals, right? Endlessly tracking money, agonizing over savings rates, basically living inside Excel spreadsheets. But on the other side is the real reward. The true objective of the FIRE movement is achieving the freedom to actually enjoy the journey. Wealth is just a tool. It's a tool to buy you the time to discover new passions, stay active, and find your own version of eternal crunkage. Hoarding wealth is just drudgery, but using that wealth to give yourself the mental space to fall in love with a techno-funk band at age 62, now that is the real victory.
Jerry wraps up his post by asking a fantastic question, and I want to pass it straight on to you. Have you discovered any great bands later in life? Seriously, what is something new you're totally loving right now that just caught you completely by surprise? Financial independence is a wonderful goal, for sure. But remembering to keep your ears and your mind wide open to the world around you, that's the real secret to staying eternally young. So take a page out of Jerry's book today. Go find your groove and enjoy the journey.